In this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different terms that web designers use in the hopes that you can understand what web designers are talking about and what all of this terminology actually means. So the first term I'm going to be going over is layout. Layout is the overall design of a website, and you're talking about the positioning of text and the structure of the website. What's going to go first? Is it the nav bar? Is it going to be a mega nav? Is it going to be an about us section? It's kind of thinking about the overall layout of the website. So I guess that one's fairly self-explanatory. The layout of your website is very important when it comes to actually getting the message across to your customer. So you want them to understand who you are, what you do, what you're selling, and why you're selling it. Maybe get across your ethics, your values, a lot of different information like that. The layout is crucial. Next up, I'm going to talk about navigation. Navigation is the way that people find their way through the website. So typically you have a nav bar at the top of the website. This is kind of like the menu that has the buttons to different pages. Maybe it's a drop down that links to multiple pages. Maybe you only have, a menu that you can open up and see a lot of different features like that. The navigation is crucial for how people are going to understand the layout of your website and how they're going to find their way to all of the different pages that you have. If your website navigation is confusing, you're going to find that people are spending less time on your website, which is overall going to be a negative thing for you because you want people to easily be able to navigate through your website. You want them to easily be able to find what pages they're looking for or what information they're looking for. Number 3 is typography. Typography is the fonts and colors of the text on your website. So you're talking about, are you using Montserrat font? Are you using Arial, Droid Sans, Sans Serif? There's a lot of different fonts out there. There's probably thousands, and people actually spend years studying fonts and, colors. There's a whole psychology behind the colors people are using. But overall, just understand that typography is the way that the text comes across on your website. Next up, I'm going to talk about CMS. CMS stands for Content Management System. So this is going to be used in order to add blogs or recipes or maybe new listings, new real estate listings to your website. Content management systems make it really easy for a client or for the web designer to add new information that's in a template format. So if I was going to add a new recipe, I would have a template already pre-created that I could then fill out certain information like the name of the recipe, the ingredients to the recipe, and then the description of what it should come out looking like. I put all of that into the CMS system. I click create, and then I've just created a beautiful blog that has all of that information built out on the template you've selected or built. So a CMS is really useful in specific situations where you have a client that's not as familiar with the layout of a website or how to build websites. They can actually go in, use the CMS system in order to easily create new information. Next up, we have web hosting. Really, all you have to understand about hosting is that it is what allows your website to be propagated on the internet. So there are some common companies people use for hosting, like GoDaddy or Bluehost, and just know that if you cancel your hosting plan, your website will no longer be active. Next up, we have HTML. HTML is the language of code that websites are built off of. So you don't actually have to understand how HTML works because it's very complex and people spend many years learning HTML. But nowadays, websites are built with no code a lot of the time. And so you're creating sections that are just, long pieces of code that are actually put together there in order to make the website functional. Okay, so the next term is 301 redirects. Now, when you migrate from an old website to a new website, one thing that you're going to notice is that the URLs change. The links at the top when you search that website, that's the URL. And if the link changes, then that means that people that previously had that link, say on their website, say that you had a blog linking to a certain website, and then the link changed, that link would no longer bring them to the website. And so a 301 redirect is something that you implement into your website when you've changed links that tells the internet that they should go to this link instead of the old link. So 301 redirects are very helpful when it comes to SEO because you don't want to have a bunch of people linking to your website and then it brings them to a page that no longer exists. You want them to be brought to the more modern and updated version of that page. Next up, we have the footer. So the footer is at the bottom of the website. It's what you see where you have the logo, and then typically you're linking to a bunch of your pages, kind of like the nav bar, but it's just at the bottom. Because at the end of the day, when they scroll through your website and they get to the bottom, usually they want to check out another page, and so the footer is very convenient in that it has links to all of their pages and then often terms and conditions and also privacy policy. And lastly, we have conversions. So conversions is when you have the user take a specific action that you wanted them to take. So let's say that your action was subscribing to a newsletter. If you had a couple people visit your website and then one person ended up subscribing to your newsletter, then you just had one conversion. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different conversions that you could have if you're trying to do different things. Like say you don't have a newsletter, but you have products and you're selling products and you want somebody to purchase a product. That means that a conversion is buying that specific product that you're selling. All right, so that's all the terms I'm going to cover in this video. Now, if you have any questions about other terms, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And before you go, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a thumbs up on this video. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.